So the Raiders officially opened up the new season with a preseason game at Allegiant Stadium against the Seattle Seahawks. The Raiders won 20-7. I mean, obviously this game doesn't count, neither do the other preseason games. But I mean, it's still cool to see the Raiders back on the field, and they won, so that's good for sure. It was a pretty good victory in a game where the Raiders were good on both ends. Obviously, they struggled on defense last season all year. And, we saw a lot of good defensive moments, a lot of good offensive moments. Nathan Peterman was the starting quarterback and the only quarterback that played for the Raiders. He had a pretty good game. I mean, he didn't have a single throwing touchdown, but he, threw pretty well generally. Zay Jones was the leading receiver pretty much for the Raiders. He's, backup generally. He didn't really get many touches last year, but he did pretty good last year overall when he did play, and he did good in this game too. The Raiders didn't really have many of their starters out there, like I said, but, we did see some guys out there like Alex Leatherwood, who was our first-round draft pick, offensive lineman, so that was interesting. Andre James, obviously a notable player, so that was pretty good. John Brown, also the newly acquired receiver, played. Willie Snead IV also. Trey Ragas was our primary running back in this game. B.J. Emmons did get a rushing touchdown as well. He's a recent acquisition for the Raiders on the running back side. But yeah, pretty good game for the Raiders. I mean, the biggest moment for me was seeing Nate Hobbs, who was a fifth-round pick, shine and get a strip sack. It was later overturned and wasn't a strip, but it was a sack, and he still came out to play. So I was happy with that. Nate Hobbs, I never really knew who he was, and to see a guy like that step up in a moment like this, even though it is just preseason, is important. He strip sacked Geno Smith, and yeah, the Seahawks didn't really look that good. I mean, I'd say overall the Raiders were the better team on offensive and defense, but it's obviously early. It's the preseason, like I mentioned, so it's not anything to necessarily take too seriously. But I mean, it's still good. I got my Raiders shirt on. I was hyped about this game, but it's a good one to learn from. The Raiders have been pretty impressive in camp. Their signings have been pretty good. So I'm hoping, they can continue this, because the next game is obviously preseason-wise is against the Rams at SoFi Stadium. So that'll be a pretty interesting one as well. Solomon Thomas, the newly acquired defensive player, worked with the backups. I mean, I think a lot of it was playing our rookies and playing newly acquired players to get an idea of where to put these guys in the regular season. Ragas did get a touchdown. The Raiders got a touchdown on their first drive, which is pretty good. They had some kind of risky plays, but they went well. Zay Jones had some good catches, like I mentioned. He had a rushing touchdown. The way the scoring went was the Raiders scored on their first drive. They didn't score for the rest of the first quarter. They scored 2 field goals in the second quarter, one of which was near halftime, and they scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter, which equaled 20 points. The Seahawks scored a touchdown in the third quarter, but the Raiders were still able to fend them off. So yeah, I mean, it's a good victory. Obviously, like I said, it's preseason, but I still like watching it, and I think it's pretty exciting. Our leading rusher was Trey Ragas, like I said. Never really heard of him before. He did get that rushing touchdown. So did B.J. Emmons. Nathan Peterman even rushed a little bit. Obviously, he's not the greatest quarterback by any means, but he did play pretty good. Zay Jones was our leading receiver. Keelan Doss had some good plays out there on receiver. So did DJ Turner. Trey Ragas did too. Raiders did just pretty good on offense generally. I mean, 20 points in a preseason game is not bad, especially when you're holding the other team to 7. And I think overall the Raiders did good. It was good to see, the team out there. That's just all it was about, just getting back in the groove of football for sure. And also, I mean, it's cool just seeing guys like Trayvon Murray that we drafted and, Damon Arnett, guys that we want to see break out there in the big setting. And they got extended time, which was good. So, anyways, the Raiders moved to 1-0 on the preseason. They beat the Seattle Seahawks 20-7 in a pretty solid game. I definitely like what I saw. Will this reflect in the regular season? We don't know, but let's hope. And anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys later. Go Raiders.